Greetings, everybody, and welcome. This is our first attempt, or my first attempt, at trying to do some catechism instruction online, and it's not something that's coming naturally to me with all of this technology, so please bear with me. We don't have a TV studio here at church. I got, nice glare on my head. You'll just have to put up with what we have to do here today, but it's an important thing, and I know that with school not being in session and people being at home for the most part, we want to make sure that everybody is getting the instruction, because we do have confirmation coming up in May, and we hope to be able to do that, although we don't have that for sure yet when that's going to take place. So these daily videos are going to be for all of the 8th graders in public school and St. Paul's. But we're also going to share them with the whole congregation as kind of a catechism refresher. So they will be part of the daily updates, maybe not every day, but most days, and we're just going to go through the catechism. Now, there's a couple ways you can do that. This is the catechism we're going to be using, and I apologize because I know it's going to look backwards on your screen, so you're going to have to be able to read backwards a little bit. But also you can follow the catechism in the hymnal, and if you just look in your hymnal on page 321, there is the small catechism, and if you've got a hymnal at home, and you really should, I hope that people are making sure there's a hymnal in their house, because that is very helpful during a time of quarantine. You can follow along there as well. But for today, all I want to do is basically give you an introduction to the catechism. Here's kind of the rules on how this is going to work. Not rules, I can't enforce anything, but I want the 8th graders to do these videos together with parents. So in other words, don't watch it and then have mom or dad watch it a different time or talk about it. I want the family watching the video together at the same time. And the reason for that is because, in a way, this is how we are going to get back to normal. And let me explain what I mean by that. If you look at the catechism, you turn, if you're in this version of the catechism, it's page 13. But in any version of Luther's catechism, the first section is going to be the 10 Commandments. And the very first thing it's going to say is, as the head of the family should teach the 10 Commandments in a simple way to his household. In other words, the catechism is designed by Martin Luther for in-home learning. So in a way, doing these lessons in the home is getting back to normal. Well, we do Bible studies and instruction in churches, and we have the school, which is a great blessing. And we look forward to the day when that's back in session and we continue doing all of the things God calls us to do. But by design of our faith, this is all something that's supposed to be happening in the house. So the main thing that I want to, this first introductory lesson that we're just sort of testing out the technology, is to focus on that. As the head of the family should teach in a simple way to his household. At the time of the Reformation, this was a big deal because people had the idea that you were pleasing to God if you did something like live in a monastery where Martin Luther lived. And his idea, or one of the main things that he tried to put forth, is that you serve God in your various vocations in the world. So you might feel during this pandemic like you're living in a monk's cell, like you can't get out, like you're just sort of trapped in your room. But the way those monasteries worked is that they were houses of praise and service and prayer and life together. And Luther said, but that's just a Christian house. So why go to a monastery and everybody live in their own little room and do their thing? Husband and wife, parents and children, extended family, whatever is in the household, that should also be a place of prayer and praise and service to the neighbor. And so you wake up in the morning as though you're living in a monastery and saying, okay, what are my vocations? What does God have in store for me today? And this helps you with that. So in other words, during this time of pandemic or quarantine, you're not just figuring out how to make it through the day or how to keep yourself amused or from being bored. You wake up every morning with a mission. This is, wherever you live, a house of prayer and praise and service, and you wake up with vocations in order to do that. What we're going to do with the Catechism, it has, as we know, the 6 chief parts, the 10 Commandments, the Creed, the Lord's Prayer, baptism, confession and absolution, and Holy Communion. But it also has sections on daily prayers. It has sections on vocations, how you understand your role in the world. And it also has preparation for Holy Communion. We're going to go through that. That's something that normally with the 8th graders we go through on the Wednesday of Holy Week. We're not going to be able to do that this year, unfortunately, but it will be the focus of the sermon on Maundy Thursday. So each day we're going to take up a little section, maybe one commandment or one petition of the Lord's Prayer. And as we go through this, through the month of April, and it looks like it's going to be the whole month of April that we're going to be doing this remotely, we invite you to join in each day, and hopefully it'll be a great review so that when the day comes, whether it's in May or later, when we can do the great confirmation service, you will be prepared. And we certainly all pray for things to get back to normal, and we encourage everybody to stay safe during this time, and we will be in touch daily. Thank you very much.